Continue reading from Exodus chapter 9, text 23. Yepi
I can't
anya
hear you.
devata bhakta
Yepi anya devata bhakta
yajante shraddhayan vita
yajante shraddhayan vita
tepi mam eva kaunteya
tepi mam eva kaunteya
yajanti avvidhi purvakam.
yajanti avidhi purvakam. Translation: those who are devotees of other gods and who worship them with faith actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in a wrong way. Persons who are engaged in the worship of demigods are not very intelligent. Although such worship is offered to me indirectly, Krishna says. For example, when a man pours water on the leaves and branches of a tree without pouring water on the root, he does so without sufficient knowledge or without observing regulative principles. Similarly, the process of rendering service to different parts of the body is to supply food to the stomach. The demigods are, so to speak, different officers and directors in the government of the Supreme Lord. One has to follow the laws made by the government, not by the officers or directors. Similarly, everyone is to offer his worship to the Supreme Lord only. That will automatically satisfy the different officers and directors of the Lord. The officers and directors are engaged as representatives of the government, and to offer some bribe to the officers and directors is illegal. This is stated here as avidhi purvakam. In other words, Krishna does not approve the unnecessary worship of the demigods.
So Krishna, he's the supreme Lord. The demigods, they are uh, responsible personalities in the management of this universe. They are exalted personalities, they're very qualified, but they are not God. They are also listening to Krishna's orders. They are listening to Krishna's will. So, therefore, Krishna is saying that you worship me directly, don't worship the demigods. Because if you're worshipping the demigods, you are actually worshipping me, but in an indirect way. Why indirect way? Because the demigods are getting their powers or their ability to give the benedictions, their ability to give the blessings from Krishna. So therefore, Krishna is saying, you worship me and I'll give you whatever you want. So Prabhupada is helping us explain that, water should be poured on the root of the tree. When the water is poured on the root, the entire tree becomes green, becomes lush. But if we go on pouring water on every leaf, the tree is not going to sustain. So, and uh, also he's giving the example that food has to be put in the stomach and then the full body becomes energized. Similarly, the demigods, they are different parts in this government of Krishna. There are different representatives, different controllers of different areas. Like we have, for example, in our government, we'll have a minister of education, minister of agriculture, minister of transport, minister of electricity. Similarly, there are demigods in the management of the universe, the sun god, the moon god, the rain god, the water god, like that. And they're all under Krishna's supervision. They're all working under the direction of Krishna. So just as it's illegal to bribe the government officers, in the same way, if we approach that worship the demigods, then it's something like that. So Krishna is saying, don't do that. You worship me. And Bhagavatam says, we have full of material desires, or we have no material desires or we desire liberation, just worship Krishna, engage in devotional service. Because Krishna not only will fulfill our desires, but He will give us perfection. He will bring us back home, back to Godhead. The demigods may give us the benedictions, but they will still keep us here in the material world. Reading on. Aham hi sarva yagyana
Aham hi sarva yajnanam
bhokta cha prabhur eva cha
bhokta cha prabhur eva cha
na tu mam abhijananti
न तु माम अभिजानन्ते
tatve natasche chavanti te.
तत्त्वेन तच्चवन्ति ते. Translation. I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. Here it is clearly stated that there are many types of yajna performances recommended in the Vedic literature, but actually all of them are meant for satisfying the Supreme Lord. Yajna means Vishnu. In the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that one should only work for satisfying Yajna or Vishnu. The perfection form of human civilization, known as Varnasrama Dharma, is specifically meant for satisfying Vishnu. Therefore, Krishna says in this verse, I am the enjoyer of all sacrifices because I am the Supreme Master. Less intelligent persons, however, without knowing this fact, worship demigod for temporary benefit. Therefore, they fall down to material existence and do not achieve the desired goal of life. If, however, anyone has any material desire to be fulfilled, he had better pray for it to the Supreme Lord, although that is not pure devotion, and he will thus achieve the desired result.
Krishna is saying he's the only enjoyer and master of sacrifices. All austerities, all sacrifices are meant for the satisfaction of Krishna. Krishna is saying, understand his true nature is transcendental. Krishna is not material. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. His form is transcendental. God is a person. He's a living entity. He's a supreme living entity. And he has a form, a body, which is transcendental, not material. So there's so many different types of yajnas that are recommended in the Vedas, but all of the yajnas are meant for Krishna's satisfaction. Any yajna which is performed is for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu or Krishna. So Krishna says, I am the enjoyer of all sacrifices because I'm the Supreme Master. Everything, everyone belongs to Krishna. There's nothing, no one that does not belong to Krishna. Even the demigods, they are working under Krishna's direction, under Krishna's order. And so that's why Krishna is saying, you worship me directly. Sacrifice the sacrifice for this age of Kali. The yajna for this age of Kali is the Harinam Sankirtan yajna, chanting the glories of the Lord. The Vedas prescribe us that in this age of perfection, in this age of Kali for perfection, we chant the Hare Krishna mantra. We hear from scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and chant Hare Krishna. Yanti Deva Vrata Deva.
Yanti Deva Vrata Deva.
Pitrin Yanti Pitra Vrata.
Pitrin Yanti Pitra Vrata.
Bhutani Yanti Bhuteja.
Bhutani Yanti Bhuteja.
Yanti Madhyajinopi Mam.
Yanti mad yajinopi mam. Translation: those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship gods and spirits will take birth among such beings. And those who worship me will live with me. If one has any desire to go to the moon, sun, or any other planet, one can attain the desired destination by following specific Vedic principles recommended for that purpose, such as the process technically known as Darsha Paunamasha. These are vividly described in the fruitive activities portion of the Vedas, which recommends a specific worship of demigods situated on different heavenly planets. Similarly, one can attain the Pita planets by performing a specific yajna. Similarly, one can go to many ghostly planets and become a yaksha, raksha, or pisacha. Pishacha worship is called black arts or black magic. There are many men who practice this black art and they think that it is spiritualism, but such activities are completely materialistic. Similarly, a pure devotee who worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead only achieves the planets of Vaikuntha and Krishna Loka without a doubt. It is very easy to understand through this important verse that if by simply worshipping the demigods one can achieve the heavenly planets, or by worshipping the Pitas achieve the Pita planets, or by practicing the black arts achieve the ghostly planets, why can the pure devotee not achieve the planet of Krishna or Vishnu? Unfortunately, many people have no information of these sublime planets where Krishna and Vishnu live, and because they do not know of them, they fall down. Even the impersonalists fall down from the Brahma Jyoti. The Krishna conscious movement is therefore distributing sublime information to the entire human society to the effect that by simply chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one can become perfect in this life and go back home, back to Godhead.
Krishna is saying, whoever we worship, we will go there. We worship the demigods, we will uh, take birth in the planets of the demigods, the heavenly planets. One who worships the ancestors will go to Pitralok. That's where the ancestors live. One who worships ghosts and spirits is going to be taking birth among them. And Krishna is saying, those who worship me will come to the spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan, to live with me. So it's not clear here. Krishna is clearly saying, he's clearing the misconception, because one may think, oh, doesn't matter, whoever I worship, whatever form I assume that is God, I can do that and I will reach to the spiritual world. No, Krishna is very specific. He's saying, whoever you worship, that's where you're going to go. Prabhupada would help us explain this, that if we are buying a ticket from Bombay to Delhi, we will reach Delhi. And if another person is buying a ticket from Bombay to Madras, he will reach Madras. It's not that one can buy any ticket and reach like one is buying ticket to Madras or wherever, Bangalore, and is going to reach Delhi. No, only if you buy ticket to Delhi, you'll reach Delhi. So the way to worship Krishna is chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. By chanting this mantra, we can revive our Krishna consciousness and we can go back home, back to Godhead. The spiritual planets are in the spiritual sky, just as we have material planets in the material sky. In the spiritual sky, there are the spiritual planets. Patram pushpam phalam toyam
Patram pushpam phalam toyam
yo me bhaktya prayachate
yo me bhaktya prayachate
tadham bhakti uparatam.
tad aham bhakti uparatam
Ashnami prayatatmana.
ashnami prayatatmana. Translation. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I'll accept it. For the intelligent person, it is essential to be in Krishna consciousness, engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, in order to achieve a permanent blissful abode for eternal happiness. The process of achieving such a marvelous result is very easy and can be attempted even by the poorest of the poor without any kind of qualification. The only qualification required in this connection is to be a pure devotee of the Lord. It does not matter what one is or where one is situated. The process is so easy that even a leaf or a little water or fruit can be offered to the Supreme Lord in genuine love, and the Lord will be pleased to accept it. No one, therefore, can be barred from Krishna consciousness because it is so easy and universal. Who is such a fool that he does not want to be Krishna conscious by this simple method and thus attain the highest perfection, life, or eternity, bliss, and knowledge? Krishna wants only loving service and nothing more. Krishna accepts even a little flower from his pure devotee. He does not want any kind of offering from a non-devotee. He is not in need of anything from anyone because he is self-sufficient. And yet he accepts the offering of his devotee in an exchange of love and affection. To develop Krishna consciousness is the highest perfection of life. Bhakti is mentioned twice in this verse in order to declare more empathetically that bhakti or devotional service is the only means to approach Krishna. No other condition, such as becoming a brahmana, a learned scholar, a very rich man, or a great philosopher, can induce Krishna to accept some offering. Without the basic principle of bhakti, nothing can induce the Lord to agree to accept anything from anyone. Bhakti is never causal. The process is eternal. It is direct action in service to the absolute whole. Here, Lord Krishna, having established that he is the only enjoyer, the primeval Lord, and the real object of all sacrificial offerings, reveals that what types of sacrifices he desires to be offered. If one wishes to engage in devotional service to the Supreme in order to be purified and to reach the goal of life, the transcendental loving service of God, then one should find out what the Lord desires of him. One who loves Krishna will give him whatever he wants, and he avoids offering anything which is undesirable or unasked. Thus, meat, fish, and egg should not be offered to Krishna. If he desired such things as offerings, he would have said so. Instead, he clearly requests that a leaf, fruit, flower, and water be given to him. And he says to the offering, I will accept it. Therefore, we should understand that he will not accept meat, fish, and eggs. Vegetables, grains, fruits, milk, and water are the proper food for human beings and are prescribed by Lord Krishna himself. Whatever else we eat cannot be offered to him since he will not accept it. Thus, we cannot be acting on the level of loving devotion if we offer such food. In the third chapter, verse 13, Sri Krishna explains that only the remains of sacrifice are purified and fit for consumption by those who are seeking advancement in life and relief from the clutches of the material entanglement. Those who do not make an offering of their food, he says in the same verse, are eating only sin. In other words, every mouthful is simply deepening their involvement in the complexities of material nature. But preparing nice, simple vegetable dishes, offering them before the picture of deity of Lord Krishna, and bowing down and praying for him to accept such a humble offering, enable one to advance steadily in life, to purify the body, and to create fine brain tissues, which all lead to clear thinking. Above all, the offering should be made with an attitude of love. Krishna has no need of food, since he already possesses everything that be, yet he will accept the offering of one who desires to please him in that way. The important element in preparation, in serving, and in offering is to act with love or in the love for Krishna. To act with love for Krishna. The impersonalist philosophers who wish to maintain that the absolute truth is without senses cannot comprehend this verse of Bhagavad Gita. To them, it is either a metaphor or proof of the mundane character of Krishna, the speaker of the Bhagavad Gita. But in actuality, Krishna, the Supreme Godhead, has senses, and it is stated that his senses are interchangeable. In other words, one sense can perform the function of any other. This is what it means to say that Krishna is absolute. Lacking senses, he could hardly be considered full in all opulences. In the seventh chapter, Krishna has explained that he impregnates the living entities into material nature. This is done by his looking upon material nature. And so, in this instance, Krishna, hearing the devotee's words of love in offering foodstuff, is wholly identical with his eating and actually tasting. This point should be emphasized because of his absolute position. His hearing is wholly identical with his eating and tasting. Only the devotee who accepts Krishna as he describes himself without interpretation can understand that supreme absolute truth, can eat food and enjoy it.
So Krishna is saying, if one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it. With love and devotion. So Prabhupada is saying that when one engages in Krishna consciousness, when one is engaging in devotional service, then one can get liberated, go back home, back to Godhead. And this position is not that only particular people, particular qualification is needed, or something is needed. Everyone, anyone can become Krishna conscious. No matter whatever is our position in society, how much ever wealth we have, everyone can become a devotee. Then who's a pure devotee? That his only desire is to please Krishna. He has no other intention, only to please Krishna. So Krishna is saying one can offer me with love, little water, leaf, fruit, flower, and Krishna accepts it because he's seeing our desire to connect with him, our desire to please him, one's love and devotion for him. So everyone can take up Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada is saying it is a simple method, offering simple things to Krishna. Fruit, water, leaf. The leaf is the tulsi leaf. And one can get the highest perfectional life of eternality, bliss, and knowledge, that one can go back home, back to Godhead. Krishna wants only loving service and nothing more. It's an exchange of love between the devotee and Krishna. We, each of us, each and every living entity, has an eternal loving relationship with Krishna. And this human form of life is a body in which we can revive this relationship. And the process is devotional service. Devotional service is the only means to approach Krishna. And devotional service begins by hearing and chanting. Hearing and chanting. When we are hearing about Krishna from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is pleased. When we are chanting his names, he's pleased. This is service to Krishna. So Krishna is the only enjoyer. He is the object of all sacrificial offerings. All the sacrifices are performed for satisfaction of Krishna or Lord Vishnu. So then, if one actually wants to please Krishna, then one has to inquire, oh, what I can do, what kind of offering I can make to please Krishna. Hmm. So engaging in when one engages in devotional service, one gets purified, our material contamination goes away, and we can revive our loving relationship with Krishna. Right now we are thinking of the body, right now we are thinking, oh, I have no relationship with Krishna, but that's because of our material contamination. By the process of devotional service, we can purify this contamination and revive our love for Krishna. So when one loves Krishna, he will give him whatever Krishna wants. Like, for example, we love whoever we love, We may love our parents, or we may love our children or spouse, and then we want to do things for them which we know will please them. Why do we do that? To make them happy. Oh, I want to please this one. I want to please that one. So we do things. So the devotee, he loves Krishna. He offers Krishna things which Krishna will be pleased to accept. Krishna is not saying, give me non-vegetarian food here. Krishna is saying, give me leaf, flower, fruit, water. So, and Krishna is pleased with such offering. So, Srila Prabhupada is saying that vegetables, grains, fruits, milk, and water, they are proper food for human being. They can be offered to Krishna and accepted as prasad. Krishna says that when we offer the food, it helps us to purify our consciousness. When we offer the food to Krishna, when we are not offering the food to Krishna, then we are eating only sin. It gives us sinful reactions. It's going to keep us longer in this material world. So vegetable dishes can be prepared, followed to Krishna, bowing down to him, praying him to accept the offering. And in this way, our mind, body can be purified. Our brain tissues will be purified, which can help us to make better choices, clear thinking. Prabhupada is pointing out, above all, the offering should be made with the attitude of love. Everything belongs to Krishna. Everything, the fruits, vegetables, grains, water, all belong to Krishna. But the devotee prepares it out of love and offers to Krishna. And so Krishna sees that, the love and the devotion. Like a small child, he may, buy a gift for the mother. But the money he got was from the mother. But he buys her a gift, and she's so happy. Oh, my child thought of me. He loves me. He remembers me. Similarly, Krishna, he sees that, my child is remembering me. He's offering me with love. So you have to understand that Krishna is a person. He's a supreme person. He's a living entity. He has senses. And his senses are interchangeable. Krishna can see with his ears. He can eat with his eyes. And Krishna, he's on the absolute platform. When we offer food to Krishna, we keep the bhoga in front of him. He sees and he's eating. And when he puts us, how does he put us living entities in this material world? Through the eyes, he glances at the living entity and he glances at the material energy. And that's how he puts us, the souls, in this material world, inside the universe, just by looking. So his senses are interchangeable. Our senses are fixed. We have to hear with our ears, and we have to see with our eyes. We can't hear with our eyes. We can't eat with our nose. It has to be in the mouth. So Krishna is on the absolute position, and so he hears the devotee chanting the mantra, the prayers to accept the food, and he sees the food and he eats. This is how he's enjoying and tasting the food. So the absolute position. So Krishna is speaking about himself, and we accept what he's speaking. When if somebody wants to know something about Neetu, so ask Neetu directly. My dear Neetu, what do you like to eat? What you don't like to eat? Where you like to go? Neetu can tell about herself. I like to do this. I like to do that. And that is going to be the perfect way to understand Neetu, to know her. If we ask some random person who doesn't know her at all, then they will not give us the correct information. Similarly, Krishna is speaking about himself, what he likes, what he doesn't like. He's telling us, become my devotee, offer me with love and devotion. So we just follow. This is how we can understand the supreme absolute truths, by hearing from him. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Yat karoshi yat ashnasi
Yat karoshi yat ashnasi
yat juhoshi dadasi
yat juhosi dadasi yat
yat tapasyasi kaunteya
yat tapasyasi kaunteya
tat kurushva mad arpanam.
tat kurushva mad arpanam. Translation: whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. Thus, it is the duty of everyone to mold his life in such a way that he will not forget Krishna in any circumstance. Everyone has to work for maintenance of his body and soul together, and Krishna recommends herein that one should work for him. Everyone has to eat something to live. Therefore, he should accept the remnants of foodstuffs offered to Krishna. Any civilized man has to perform some religious ritualistic ceremonies. Therefore, Krishna recommends, do it for me, and this is called archana. Everyone has a tendency to give something in charity. Krishna says, give it to me. And this means that all surplus money accumulated should be utilized in furthering the Krishna conscious movement. Nowadays, people are very much inclined process, which is not practical in this age. But if anyone practices meditating on Krishna 24 hours a day by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra around his base, he is surely the greatest meditator and the greatest yogi, as substantiated by the sixth chapter of Bhagavad Gita.
So Krishna is telling us, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. He's giving us specific instructions of how to act. So that's why Prabhupada is saying it is a duty of everyone that we arrange our life in such a way that we can always remember Krishna. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. All the principles are made to support this principle. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So one has to work. We cannot maintain ourselves without work. So work for Krishna. Eat. So what do we eat? First we offer to Krishna, then we accept the remnants. We perform some ritualistic ceremony. So Krishna is saying, do it for me. Worship the deity, Archana. So charity, Krishna is saying, give it to me. Offer the money to Krishna, Krishna consciousness. Meditate, do it for Krishna. How? By chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. We cannot sit down and meditate for very long. Oh, there may be very few great personalities who are able to do it. But what about the average common man? How many of us will be able to do it? It's not possible for us to do it in the age of Kali. But what is possible? Yes, to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Constant chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. That will help us to fix our mind on Krishna. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that he is the highest yogi, the greatest yogi, one who's always thinking of Krishna. So to become the highest yogi, we chant Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shubha Shubha Phaler Evam.
Shubha Shubha Phaler Evam.
Mokshya Karma Bandhane.
Mokshasya Karma Bandhane.
Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma.
Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma.
Vimukto Mam Upasyasi.
Vimukta Mam Upasyasi.
Your voice is not very clear, man. Breaking up today.
Do you want me to read?
Yeah, sure. Shinam, you want to read?
Yeah.
Okay. Neetu, is it all right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So, in this way, you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. With your mind fixed on me, in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. One who acts in Krishna consciousness under superior direction is called Yukta. The technical term is Yukta Vairagya. This is further explained by Rupa Goswami as follows.
Shinam, sorry, could you speak? It became, initially you began, it was clear, but now it's become a little low. Is it possible to?
Okay, is it okay now?
All right, let's hear.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, but a bit louder would be nice.
Okay. One who acts in Krishna consciousness under superior direction is called Yukta. The technical term is Yukta Vairagya. This is further explained by Rupa Goswami as follows. Anashaktasya Vishayan Yatharaham Upayung Jata Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagyam Uchyate. Rupa Goswami says that as long as we are in this material world, we have to act. We cannot cease acting. Therefore, if actions are performed and the fruits are given to Krishna, then that is called Yukta Vairagya. Actually situated in renunciation, such activities clear the mirror of the mind. And as the actor gradually makes progress in spiritual realization, he becomes completely surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, at the end, he becomes liberated, and this liberation is also specified. By this liberation, he does not become one with the Brahma Jyoti, but rather enters into the planet of the Supreme Lord. It is clearly mentioned here, Mam Upasyasi. He comes to me. Back home, back to Godhead. There are 5 different stages of liberation. And here it is specified that the devotee who has always lived his lifetime here under the direction of the Supreme Lord, as stated, has evolved to the point where he can, after quitting this body, go back to Godhead and engage directly in the association of the Supreme Lord. Anyone who has no interest but to dedicate his life to the service of the Lord is actually a sannyasi. Such a person always thinks of himself as an eternal servant dependent on the supreme will of the Lord. As such, whatever he does it for the benefit of the Lord. Whatever action he performs it as service to the Lord. He does not give serious attention to the fruitive activities or prescribed duties mentioned in the Vedas. For ordinary persons, it is obligatory to execute the prescribed duties mentioned in the Vedas. But although a pure devotee who is completely engaged in the service of the Lord may sometimes appear to go against the prescribed Vedic duties, actually it is not so. It is said, therefore, by Vaishnava authorities that even the most intelligent person cannot understand the plans and activities of a pure devotee. The exact words are Tanra Vakya, Kriya, Mudra, Vigneha, Nam Bujhaye. Caitanya Charitamrit, Madhya 23.39. A person who is thus always engaged in the service of the Lord or is always thinking and planning how to serve the Lord is to be considered completely liberated at present. And in the future, his going back home, back to Godhead, is guaranteed. He is above all materialistic criticism, just as Krishna is above all criticism.
So Krishna is telling us how to act, do everything for me. Offer whatever you are giving away, give it for me. Whatever you're eating, you give it, you offer to me first. Whatever you're doing, you do for my benefit. So Krishna is saying, why is he saying that? He's saying in this way we will get free from karma, from the results. Any activity we do gives us results. Every action has a reaction. So whether the reaction may be good or bad, then we have to continue to stay here in the material world to be able to enjoy or suffer whatever we are meant to get according to the laws of karma. So that's why Krishna is saying, you work for me. So you don't get this karma, you don't get involved in the cycle of karmic action and reaction. And in this way, you can get free from karma. And your mind will get pacified, your mind will be fixed on me, and in this way you will be liberated. Go back home, back to Godhead. So Prabhupada is quoting Srila Rupa Goswami from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. What is Yukta Vairagya? Yukta Vairagya means not artificially giving up, renouncing things. Because nothing belongs to us anyways. We may say, oh, I give up this, I give up that. But did it anyways belong to us that we are giving it up? The real renunciation is that whatever we have, we engage it in Krishna's service. And that is real renunciation. So Rupa Goswami is saying, till the time we are in the material world, we are going to do something. We are going to act. And if we offer the results of our activity to Krishna, if we act for the pleasure of Krishna, then that is Yukta Vairagya. What happens is we act, we do something because we say, I will enjoy. I want to do this because I will be happy. I will enjoy. I need to do this, or this one will be happy, or that one will be happy. But if we work, say, because it's my duty to please Krishna, it's my duty to do my duties for the pleasure of Krishna, then in that way, that is a karma. We do not get reactions for that karma. It becomes karma yoga. We get attached to the result. Oh, I have worked so much, so I should get this result. But Krishna is saying, don't get attached to the result. You work for me. And in this way, you can get free from the cycle of birth and death. You can get liberated. So when one works in that way for pleasure of Krishna, then the consciousness gets purified. One can understand one's position as eternal part and parcel of Krishna. One surrenders to Krishna and he gets liberated. Liberated how? Not that he becomes one with the Brahmajyoti, not that he becomes, as we say, moksha or something that, that he does not exist anymore. He's become merged into the Brahman. No. He says, Krishna is saying he comes to me, back home, back to Godhead, to associate with Krishna. Krishna is a person. He's a supreme person. He's a supreme personality of Godhead. He lives in the spiritual world. As there are material planets in the material world, there are spiritual planets in the spiritual world. The highest planet is Golok Vrindavan, and Krishna stays there. And Krishna is saying that when one works and acts in this way, always uh, surrendering the results to Krishna, then one can go back home to the spiritual world, back to Godhead. And over there, engage directly in the association of the Supreme Lord, can see Krishna face to face, have exchange, loving exchange with him. The spirit soul on the liberated platform also has activities. It's not that after liberation the soul does not do anything. After liberation, the real activities of the soul begin. So Krishna is saying, whatever you do it for me. A person who thinks himself as eternal servant of Krishna, dependent on the supreme will of the Lord, that is a pure devotee. He's a pure devotee. He's completely understood his position, and he's completely dependent on Krishna's will. So whatever he does is for the pleasure of Krishna. He's not doing anything to enjoy his own senses, so to say. No, he's doing for the pleasure of Krishna. He's Krishna conscious. The pure devotee is Krishna conscious. He's always conscious. How can I please Krishna? Let me do this to please Krishna. No one can understand the plans and activities of a pure devotee. We cannot know from out, oh, this person is a pure devotee because, he may be working as an ordinary person, but he's working completely for Krishna. His mind is completely absorbed for the pleasure of Krishna. And Prabhupada is saying, one who is always engaged in service of the Lord, or is always thinking and planning how to serve the Lord, is to be considered completely liberated at present. And in the future, his going back home, back to Godhead is guaranteed. So the pure devotee who's always thinking, how can I please Krishna? Even while he's in the material world, he's liberated. He's liberated because his consciousness is not with the body. He's completely Krishna conscious. How can I please Krishna? And then after he gives up the body, he goes back to the spiritual world to be with Krishna. So the pure devotee is always hearing and chanting, always hearing about Krishna from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, taking pleasure in these activities, doing it as a service to Krishna. Soham sarva bhuteshu
Samoham sarva bhuteshu
na me dveshosti na priya.
name dveshosti na priya.
Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya
Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya
mai te teshu chapi aham.
mai te teshu chapyaham.
I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. One may question here that if Krishna is equal to everyone and no one is his special friend, then why does he take a special interest in the devotees who are always engaged in his transcendental service? But this is not discrimination, it is natural. Any man in this material world may be very charitably disposed, yet he has a special interest in his own children. The Lord claims that every living entity, in whatever form, is his son, and so he provides everyone with a generous supply of the necessities of life. He is just like a cloud which pours rain all over, regardless of whether it falls on rock or land or water. But for his devotees, he gives specific attention. Such devotees are mentioned here. They're always in Krishna consciousness and therefore they are always transcendentally situated in Krishna. The very phrase Krishna consciousness suggests that those who are in such consciousness are living transcendentalists situated in Him. The Lord says here distinctly, Maite, they are in me. Naturally, as a result, the Lord is also in them. This is reciprocal. This also explains the words Ye yatha mam papadyante tams tathav bhajami aham. Whoever surrenders unto me, proportionately I take care of him. This transcendental reciprocation exists because both the Lord and the devotee are conscious. When a diamond is set in a golden ring, it looks very nice. The gold is glorified, and at the same time, the diamond is glorified. The Lord and the living entity eternally glitter, and when a living entity becomes inclined to the service of the Supreme Lord, he looks like gold. The Lord is a diamond, and so this combination is very nice. Living entities in a pure state are called devotees. The Supreme Lord becomes the devotee of his devotees. If a reciprocal relationship is not present between the devotee and the Lord, then there is no personalist philosophy. In the impersonal philosophy, there is no reciprocation between the Supreme and the living entity. But in the personalist philosophy, there is. The example is often given that the Lord is like a desire tree, and whatever one wants from this desire tree, the Lord supplies. But here the explanation is more complete. The Lord is here stated to be partial to the devotees. This is the manifestation of the Lord's special mercy to the devotees. The Lord's reciprocation should not be considered to be under the law of karma. It belongs to the transcendental situation in which the Lord and his devotees function. Devotional service to the Lord is not an activity of this material world. It is part of the spiritual world where eternity, bliss, and knowledge predominate.
So Krishna is saying he envies no one, he's not partial to anyone, he's equal to all. Krishna is not partial. Everyone belongs to Krishna. Each of us are Krishna's part and parcel. He's our Supreme Father. So just as a father is not partial to any one child, he will be equal to all children. Krishna is equal to each of us. Then he says, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is in me, and also a friend to him. So, there may be like two children. One child is saying, oh, Father, I want to be with you, I want to be with you. So automatically the father spends more time with the child. Whereas the other child keeps saying, oh, I don't want to be with you, I want to be away. Automatically the father spends less time with the child. So whoever wants to be more with Krishna, Krishna is with him more. Whoever wants to turn away from Krishna, then of course, then Krishna is not with him. But as Paramatma, Krishna is there in everyone's heart. But to understand that relationship, whoever is in that relationship with Krishna, of course, Krishna is there also reciprocating in that relationship. But he's equal to everyone. He's giving equal opportunity to everyone to be situated in this relationship. He is giving equal opportunity to everyone to engage in devotional service, to hear about him from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So it's natural for Krishna to be especially inclined to his devotees. That just as a mother is more inclined towards her own children, mother likes all children. But when her own child is there, she loves more. She loves him more. So Krishna he does not envy anyone. He wants everyone to come back for him. But one who becomes his devotee, Krishna personally takes care of him. And there is a loving reciprocation between the devotee and Krishna. It's a relationship. between the devotee and Krishna. The devotee loves Krishna, Krishna loves the devotee. So there is a reciprocation. In material world also we have relationships and we reciprocate. One will do this, another will reciprocate. So because we are all individuals, we are living entities. So Prabhupada is saying the diamond is set in a golden ring. It looks nice. The gold is glorified and diamond is glorified. And they both glitter. You take a gold, there is a diamond, you make a ring out of it. Looks beautiful. So when a living entity, when he is inclined to serve the Lord, he looks like gold. The Lord is like the diamond, and the living entities are like gold. And this combination looks very nice. It looks nice, not to have a nice golden diamond ring. So the living entities in pure state are called devotees. Every living entity, each and every living entity, we are originally Krishna conscious. We are originally devotees of Krishna in the pure state. And the Lord becomes the devotee of his devotees. How? We can see here. He's become Partha Sarthi in this battle of Kurukshetra. He's become the chariot driver of Arjuna. So Krishna is reciprocating. He's become the servant of his devotee. There is reciprocation. Krishna is a person. One who thinks that God is not a person, then there is no question of reciprocation. But when one understands, oh, God is a person, so there's reciprocation. Just as we have reciprocation with each other, we living entities have reciprocation with each other. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is a living entity. He's a supreme living entity. So there's a reciprocation with him. So the Lord is compared to a desire tree that he gives us whatever we ask, but he gives special mercy to the devotees. He says, no, that I give to those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the intelligence by which they can come to me. Because Krishna sees one as having a desire to come to him. And so he gives him that mercy. In that way, Krishna is not partial. He gives anyone who is willing to get his mercy, he's giving his mercy to everyone. But one who is especially wanting his mercy, then Krishna reciprocates more with him. Krishna, his reciprocation is not a karmic activity. Now that he's become the Partha Sarthi, the charioteer of Arjuna, it's not that he's going to get some karmic reaction for it. No, Krishna is on the transcendental platform. His activities, his pastimes are all transcendental. He's above the law of karma. He's not. Law of karma work on the material world, on the material body, never to Krishna. Krishna is transcendental. So devotional service is a spiritual activity. It's not a material activity. It's a devotional activity, part of the spiritual world. The spiritual world is Sat Chit Ananda, eternal, full of bliss and full of knowledge. And we somehow or the other should try to get a desire to go back home, back to the spiritual world. So by hearing and chanting, gradually, you can go back home, back to Godhead. Is that all right? Any questions or comments? Then let's stop here. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.